And welcome back to the Brad and Chad Show. We're now ready to bring in our former Rebel Spotlight, sponsored by Neston Wild. We've got 2009 National League Rookie of the Year, former Ole Miss Rebel, and 2016 World Series champion Chris Coghlan on the line. Chris, how are you, man?
What's up, Chris?
Hey guys, Brad and Chad, I appreciate you guys having me, man. I'm doing well.
Well, thank you once again. And I really wanted to start this interview first and foremost by saying congratulations. Not everybody may know this, but you recently just came back and got your degree from Ole Miss. So congratulations there.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I'm glad to get it done. It was something that was important to me. Took me 20 something years. So it's something that I definitely would cherish.
Was that decision to go back to school, was that something like a promise you made to yourself, maybe your mom, your dad? What kind of led to that decision to go back and get that degree even after a successful major league career?
It was a multitude of reasons. But it first started, Coach Bianco was, after I had retired, was trying to encourage me, and I said, hey, I appreciate it, but I didn't think that I was going to go back. But I appreciated his challenge. And then my wife was the second one. She was like, hey, I think you should do it. And, so I ended up doing it. It was a great sacrifice. My wife and my son had to sacrifice time with me running, two companies and then trying to be a husband and father that I wanted to be, and then do night school. So it was good, but for the reasons were, yes, my mom, I told her that I would promise her that I would graduate at some point. And then I think it was, my son was a big reason, and Lord willing, we have more kids, but I felt like school's not for everybody, in my opinion, but it is for others. And so I felt like, in order to look them in the eye and tell them school's important and that they need to prioritize their degree if it's best for them, that I needed to demonstrate that myself. So he was probably the biggest reason, and others as well.
Let's talk quickly about your time at Oxford. Did you decide to go back to Oxford and walk when you graduated?
Yeah, I did. It was very important to me. As I said, it took 20 something years to get it. And then in really 2 years, when I decided to go back, I left my junior year when I got drafted. Right. I always say I wish baseball was like football, where you could stay and finish your degree and not feel like, you're going to be negotiated against and the compensation would force you out of school. MLB is kind of unique in that. So,
sure.
To come back and do that and put in, it was another 2 years before I could finish those last 30 hours just with business and life. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely walking.
Yeah, kudos to you, man. I know recently Dexter McCluster, football player, did that as well. And, I think it just shows a lot. Come back and, accomplish that, kind of complete you, so to speak. You had a really, really great career. And then, you come back, get that degree at a school that you love. And, man, it just looks cool. So kudos to you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks. I love it. Ole Miss is partial. They did a lot to try to help me through it, and I was like, dang, I don't even know how to sign up for these classes. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's been 17 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was like, man, I could go in Alabama. I could go in Birmingham and just sign up and get the paper, but I really wanted it from Ole Miss.
I think that's a good point too. You touch on there because talking to some other guys, and they always make it sound like, especially when guys are getting drafted in baseball, they're like, oh, he can just always go back to school. But once you grow up and have a life, it's really hard to switch back into that school mode. And I think you just experienced that. But I've had some other teammates go back and try to do the school thing after having a family. They're like, whoa, it's a little different being in school when you got kids and stuff. So that's awesome that you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like funny story. I was the last one to walk on my day. And I was joking with my wife. I was like, man, they must have done it in chronological order, how old you are when you graduate. I was like, how do you get on that? So it was, it's different. You're around all these kids and they're talking about their life and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so old.
Yeah. You're just out there giving advice. Just say, hey man, when you grow up, I'll tell you what it's like.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
On a side note, I want to share this real quick because I'm hoping people listen to this. This is just, I was wondering. I understand. I'm really naive to this thing. I was wondering if Ole Miss could. I'm all for proposing the idea that and I don't know the structure, but the people that speak, right, and the students that speak because they earned the right to speak because of all kind of the pedigree and the schooling and the grading. I was wondering, can Ole Miss like literally say, hey, 4 years later, you're still going to speak, but you don't speak to this group when we're graduating. I want you to come back in 4 years, and then I want you to speak. And I was thinking, man, do you know how much value they would bring 100%. Kids 4 years after versus just doing it right when you're done and you're like, man, let's go conquer the world. And that's cool. But like, man, we know life's going to eat you up and spit you out. It'd really be nice to have somebody come back.
Oh, no, dude, I agree there. That's actually good.
Go broadcast that, and I hope somebody listens. But they'll probably be like, you're crazy. You don't even know what you're talking about.